Hey everybody, Yankee here. You know, the other day I did a video where I said the most underrated carry gun is the Ruger Super Red Hawk Alaskan in 454 Casull. Now that was of course kind of a little joke. It was parody. It was satire. It was so I could show this little parody commercial animation that I had made for 454 Casull versus 9mm. It was all just having fun. We like to have fun here on this channel. And everybody gets it, right? No, nobody took that too seriously and got all upset and sent me nasty emails and started questioning the actual validity of 9mm versus 454 Casull for carry. No one got into running debates that degraded into them calling each other fags and other nasty names, and I had to delete entire arguments and ban people. Of course, that didn't happen. That'd be ridiculous, right? But like I said, I made that video. It was in jest, but people in the comment section, some people, asked me though, this is obviously not really the most underrated carry gun in the world, but what do you think is? What are the most underrated carry guns? Guns that are out there right now, people could be carrying, but they're not because they just don't think highly enough of them or just don't think of them at all. So today I thought I'd sit down and do a little video of what I think are the 5 most underrated carry guns available today. Now, before we get into the list, let's do a little disclaimer here. First off, these guns have to be currently in production. Not just a few of them left floating around, not guns from 20 years ago. They have to be being made right now. Like some people got mad that there was no SIGs on my 40 caliber list yesterday and the day before of best 40 caliber guns. They don't make 40s anymore, so they weren't eligible for the list. Same thing with this list. You have to be currently in production. And also I want people out there to remember when we talk about price on these guns, we're talking about MSRP. They often sell for a lot less, but when you're comparing gun to gun, you kind of have to do it by MSRP to be as fair as possible. So keep those two things in mind when we're going over this list of 5 most underrated carry guns on the market today. All right, before we actually get started, I want to do a little honorable mention here for the Beretta PX4 Storm. And I want to talk about why it wasn't on yesterday's list of best 40s and why it's not going to be on today's list of most underrated carry guns. I left it off yesterday because everybody's heard me talk about it time and time again. So I kind of left it off so that I could put a gun on that list that people haven't heard me talk about all the time. And there was no way I was leaving the 96 off. So the Beretta kind of had to go, the PX4 Storm. And it won't be on today's list either, because even though I think it is a highly underrated carry gun, if it got the credit it was due, I think pretty much everybody that carries a polymer gun would carry a PX4 Storm. But since it's being made by companies like Langdon Tactical now, I think it's getting a little more press nowadays, so more people are aware of it. So I don't think I need to sing its praises quite so much. It's not getting as much credit as I think it's actually due, but I don't think it's as underrated or as unknown as it used to be. So it's not going to be on today's list. It wasn't on yesterday's list just to make space, and it's not going to be on today's because I think more people are actually waking up to how great a gun this is. So with that being said, let's get started with number 5. All right, at number 5, we have a gun I was lucky enough to actually own for a little while and do a range review on, which I will link in the upper corner of this video. And it is the Kimber R7 Mako. Now, full disclosure, I did not buy this gun. Kimber gave it to me, which is why I did with it what I do with all the guns manufacturers give me. I auctioned it off for a dog rescue, so I don't have it anymore. But when I had it, it was a really nice little gun. It's made by Kimber, as I said, and they know how to make guns, and this is no exception. But it's not as expensive as you might think because it's only $5.99 MSRP. It holds 12 rounds of 9mm. It is a striker-fired gun. I think it's Kimber's only striker-fired gun right now. It does come with night sights, and it is optics ready. Also, the stippling on this gun was very nice. It was very easy to hold on to when shooting it. And I really like the way the chamber is designed where it's really only open on one side right there. I think this gun is extremely underrated. I don't think a lot of people know about it. And I definitely know a lot of people don't carry it. At least not as many people who should, because it is a really nice gun if you're looking for something small. It is the Kimber R7 Mako. All right, at number 4, we have a gun that a lot of people get upset when I say it's underrated because they're like, how could you say it's underrated? It's a famous gun. And the gun I'm talking about is the Walther PPK. In this case, specifically, the PPK-S. I think most people are familiar with the Walther PPK and PPK-S. The PPK-S is just the model that has the slightly longer grip, uses panel grips instead of a wraparound, and holds one more round, making it a 7+1 gun, chambered in 380 ACP. Now, it is a double action, single action gun. It's all steel construction, and it has a manual safety with a decocker. It's hammer fired with that manual safety and decocker. Now, unfortunately, it's not cheap. It's the most expensive gun on this list with an MSRP of over $800. I think it's like $849, but this gun is still an awesome gun. And people will say, well, how can it be underrated since it is so famous? Well, it's underrated because people only think of it as a collector's item, a novelty gun, it's a James Bond gun, and they don't really know how great a carry gun this is, how great a self-defense gun this is. Yes, it's only 380 ACP, but 380 ACP will usually get the job done. If you're wanting to carry a small gun, this is a really nice option. But what really is great about it is those fixed sights with that blowback design and almost a complete lack of recoil makes this gun a tack driver. You can shoot the wings off flies at 30 yards with this gun. Even I'm accurate with this gun, and that says something. People just don't realize what a great carry gun it is. There's a reason it's been around for so long, and it isn't just because it was in a movie. It's because it is an overall excellent gun, but people just don't think of it as a carry gun, and I think that's a shame because this is one of the better ones you can buy. It is the Walther PPK-S. All right, next at number 3 on our list, we have a gun that comes from a line of guns that I'm surprised are not more popular than they are. And I'm talking about the Car series gun, and in this case, I'm talking about the Car P40. The P40 is Car's 40 Smith & Wesson chambered little polymer framed pistol. It is a single stack striker fired gun, but even though it's single stack, it still holds 7 rounds of 40 Smith & Wesson, which is a nice little bit of firepower. Now, this gun isn't super cheap. The MSRP is just under $800, but you can find them for a lot less than that. And believe me, this gun is worth every penny. Not only is it very small, I have a little K9, which is the steel framed version of this gun, and it's incredibly small. It's much smaller than most people think they are. And since they're single stack, they're very thin, so they're very easy to carry. This model also does come with night sights, but none of those things are the best thing about this gun. The best thing about this gun is the trigger. It has a light double action trigger for that striker fired mechanism. That is amazing. I just can't tell you how great it is. Until you try it, you'll never know because they are that good. And also, since it is chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson and holds 7 rounds, I kind of think of this gun as the semi-auto equivalent of carrying a small revolver. Except you get 7 rounds like a bigger revolver. And you can reload with a magazine, and it's smaller and easier to carry. So I just love these guns. Like I said, I have a K9. I wish they made the K40 still. They don't. But this gun, the P40, is awesome, and I don't think enough people appreciate this gun or how good it is. In fact, I could say that of the entire Car line, but this one especially, and that's why it's number 3 on our list, the Car P40. All right, in the number 2 position here, we have a gun that I've always really liked, and I've always wanted one. I've shot several of them, and every time I go to SHOT Show, I'm like, I'm gonna get me one of these, but I never do, and it is the Steyr A2 model gun, in particular, the M9 A2 MF. Now, the M9 just means it is the medium-sized 9mm. There's also an L9, which is the long slide 9mm, and a C9, which is the compact. The M9 holds 18 rounds total of 9mm, and it's not super expensive. This gun has everything the Glocks have, the Smith & Wesson M&Ps have, and it's also similarly priced. It's around $650 MSRP. I think it's $669. So it's in the mid 600s, but you can get them for much cheaper than that. It's striker fired, has the trigger dongle. Like I said, very similar to other popular guns. And it's got something else really going for it. And it's not just the fact that it looks futuristic. That's awesome. I love the way this gun looks. I feel like I'm in Logan's Run when I see this gun or hold this gun. And I know that dates me a little bit, but that's how I feel when I hold this gun. And the reason it looks so cool is because it's got that high grip and low bore axis. That's something that's really being sold on some guns nowadays. It's become a trend lately, but Steyer's been doing it for a while. And it makes this gun very easy to handle, a nice soft shooting gun. So when you combine that fact that it's got that really nice bore axis, that high grip, and it's got those really cool sci-fi looks with the fact that it holds 18 rounds of 9mm, it'd be better if it was 40, but 9mm is nothing to sneeze at when there's 18 of them. So I just really like this gun. I don't know why it's not more popular. And plus you add on top of all that, it's got MF in the name. How many guns have that? So this gun is definitely my number 2 gun when it comes to most underrated carry guns or underrated self-defense guns, and it is the Steyr M9A2 MF. All right, now we're to the number 1 gun. Now, I have not owned the modern version of this gun, but I owned its predecessor. It was a really nice gun. I did a full review of it. I'll put a link to that in the upper corner of this video here, so you can go over and watch it if you want to. But like I said, that was the predecessor. I don't have much experience with the new one. I've only shot it a couple of times, but it is awesome. It is the Beretta APX, and more specifically, the APX A1 Compact. The APX A1 Compact is kind of the sweet spot in my opinion. It's very much like a 19 from Glock or a Smith & Wesson M&P Compact. It's that really nice size for carry. It holds 15 plus 1 rounds for 16 rounds of 9mm. It's striker fired, has the trigger dongle. Like I said, this gun is very similar to those other very popular guns, the Glock and the M&P and multitude of other guns, but it just doesn't get the credit it deserves because it's every bit as good as those guns. Every bit. Maybe even better in some ways. I think the ergonomics are better. I think it actually looks better now, even though I think I preferred the old one, but the new one actually I think would appeal to more people. So it's a good looking gun. It's a quality gun. It's striker fired. It comes back with that Beretta reliability and Beretta customer service. And unlike the Glock and the M&P, it's very inexpensive. It's about the price a polymer gun should be. You could buy this gun for mid 300s all the time. The MSRP is only $449, period, when it's full price. And I've never seen them selling for full price. So you could get you a gun that's every bit as good as a Glock, every bit as good as an M&P in my opinion, for a lot less money. The only big difference between this gun and those guns is hype, as far as I'm concerned, because this gun is, like I said, just as functional, as operational, as reliable, and as backed by a big company as those guns are. I mean, even if this new model doesn't have the removable firing control unit that the first early models had, still, it's a great gun. And it's from a great company, and it comes at a great price. If these guns were just a little cheaper, I'd give them away with TYMP, but they're a little bit outside my price range. But still, awesome guns for carry. Most people, I think, don't understand how good these guns are. If you've never shot one, shoot one. If you've never held one, hold one. Especially if you're thinking about buying a Glock or an M&P, you might find you like this better and save a little money. Now, there is one thing I don't like about it. It's got a little feature on there where you can disable the firing pin, but that's not necessary. You're not going to use that all the time. It's just for like if you're storing it or something. A lot of people don't like that. I never had a problem with mine. I've never seen anyone have a problem with it. It's just something you'll probably never use. It's like the key locks on revolvers. But other than that, like I said, great gun, great price, great company. This is the number 1 most underrated gun, in my opinion, for carry, self-defense, whatever. It's the Beretta APX A1 Compact. All right, there you have it, my list of top 5 underrated carry guns minus the Beretta PX4 Storm. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you think there's a gun that should be on this list instead of one of the ones I chose, let me know in the comments section what that gun is and what gun you think it should replace. I look forward to seeing what you got to say. Until then, though, like I said, that's my list of the top 5 underrated carry guns in production today.